Juan Trippe came up during the dawn of air travel, the pioneer era. As a boy, he watched the industry grow from experimental gliders into an established and practical means of transportation. When the United States entered World War I, Trippe joined the Navy and trained to become a naval aviator. He didn't see any combat, but the young pilot did see something. He saw opportunity. He saw the future of travel, which he wagered would rely heavily on flight. In the early 1920s, Trippe created an air taxi service catering to upper elites. It was short-lived, but with the help of some friends from Yale, Trippe invested in an airline called Colonial Air Transport. Colonial Air Transport won the first airmail contract between New York City and Boston. 2 years later, in 1927, Trippe arranged a merger between Colonial Air Transport and 2 other airlines. It was the beginning of a company that would set the gold standard of commercial aviation, a company that would shape the air travel we know today, PanAmerican World Airways. Pan Am's inaugural flight was a trip from Key West, Florida to Havana, Cuba. There would be little slowing down from there. Trippe kept his company always at the forefront of aviation's rapid evolution. In the 1930s, he set his sights on the Boeing 314 Clipper, giant flying boats, affectionately nicknamed the Yankee Clipper. He brought several into service for Pan Am, which helped establish some of the first global routes.
The Yankee Clipper, coming down on Southampton water, officially inaugurates the North Atlantic airmail service. Mr. Trippe, president of PanAmerican Airways, is one of the passengers.
By the end of the decade, Pan Am was the largest airline company in the world. Trippe continued its expansion during the Second World War. And in the years after, he began to envision something that would revolutionize the industry, the so-called tourist class. Trippe's idea was to make international travel affordable. He wanted air travel for all. And in the early 1950s, Pan Am started introducing significantly lower fares. Next, Trippe sought out jet engines, recognizing their grand potential. Pan Am became a leading champion of the new technology, bringing several Boeing 707s into service in the late 1950s. Pan Am's jets shrunk the world. They could carry more passengers at cheaper prices, speeding them along to their destinations. Later, Trippe commissioned what would become the 747, the jumbo jet. Pan Am was its first customer and ushered in even greater, more accessible international travel. Trippe's decades of innovation challenged an entire industry to rethink what is possible. He fathered some of its most important evolutions, giving aviation the future he saw all those years ago.